So my plan, hopefully, maybe, is to get through the entirety of chapter 28. There's Joel. Welcome, dear. So, because I really want to get to the portion about Jacob's dream and Jacob's ladder. I know that is one of those topics or accounts, narratives that people seem to be familiar with, Sunday school stories, songs, etc. Yeah. Yeah, it's got a ladder. So
it's real.
Yeah, it's real. So I'm hoping that we can have some conversation about that. So I just remember being little and always hearing people talk about Jacob's ladder, and I'm curious what y'all have been taught about it. So a lot of this narrative is just giving us information about what's next for Jacob. So picking up in chapter 28, verse 1. So Isaac called for Jacob and blessed him and said, "You must not marry any of these Canaanite women." So remember we just left off in chapter 27 where Rebekah was complaining about the Hittite women and that Esau had married them. So outside of the believers, right? So this is kind of a way that Rebekah's still getting what she wants and trying to protect Jacob. So he's continuing this blessing, and we're finally going to get language that reflects the God's promise to Abraham. So it's going to be a little bit more verbatim as we go through this. So you must not marry any of these Canaanite women. Instead, go at once to Padan Aram, to the house of your grandfather Bethuel, and marry one of your uncle Laban's daughters. May God Almighty bless you and give you many children, and may your descendants multiply and become many nations. May God pass on to you and your descendants the blessings that he promised to Abraham. May you own this land where you are now living as a foreigner, for God gave this land to Abraham. So we have this idea that specifically God's promise to Abraham is being passed on now, officially. And we know that Jacob is going to have to go away into Padan Aram. But because he's saying a foreigner, this land that he's now a foreigner in, is he going to come back and be protected by God? Yeah, so God's going to protect him. He's going to come back. He's going to inherit this land. So Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Padan Aram to stay with his uncle Laban, his mother's brother, the son of Bethuel, the Aramean. Well, another thing here too is looking back. If you, I won't do it as a question. If you remember, Abraham set up that his servant went and found Isaac, the wife, right? So he was more proactive in this. But now, when it's Isaac on his deathbed, what's he doing? Go find your own wife, right? So, what does this say about Isaac's character or his duty as a patriarch or, um, the leader of the family?
A stronger character, maybe.
Oh, it's weaker character, right?
Okay, so
Yeah, weaker character, right? So,
yes.
is he
Well,
lead?
he allowed Esau to marry two.
Huh?
He allowed Esau to marry two Hittite women.
Yeah, yeah,
He must have been very concerned with the rest of the lineage.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We've seen his character being weaker throughout. It's a consistent.
Yeah, yeah. So he's very passive, and that's what it is. Even in the dealings he's had with.
And you would think he would be more active, considering he was for so long the promised child.
Yeah.
Like you would think that he would take it more seriously.
You would think.
But it's like maybe he was put up on a pedestal for so long that he feels like, it doesn't matter what he does because he's the promised one and God's going to work it out through his seed and all the stuff. Like instead of seeing it differently that he was a tool to be used to be useful for God, that he was just the vessel and then he didn't do anything.
Well, he's almost a trust fund baby.
Yeah.
Trust fund, that's exactly what he is. He's a trust fund baby.
I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't have that terminology, but that's basically
Yeah.
what he was.
They
He never had
do
to.
whatever they want to do. They're always
Yeah.
bailed out.
He never had to
no
work to
responsibility.
have the money. He just inherited it.
Yeah.
Like, just fun, baby.
Yeah.
Fun, baby.
Now, so that leads to say, did God still work things out in spite of his personality and
Oh,
characteristics?
yeah, sure.
Because it was never really about him.
God doesn't need us. He doesn't need us.
He puts up with
He puts up with us. And kind of, we touched on a little bit last week, when we talked, Jenny brought up like our will, in our choices. We have the ability to make choices within a boundary of things, right? But God's will is still going to be done. It's going to outdo everything, right? Just like I said, is there any way that anyone could have stopped Jesus from being crucified? No. I mean, it could not have been stopped. God's will trumps everything. So he puts up with us. It's like that saying, I think you've heard me say it before, that when God makes a plan, he takes our stupidity into consideration. Absolutely, thank God. So, and you have to remember, God exists outside of time, right? So in his perspective, he sees your birth, your life, your death all in the same moment, right? So scripture tells us that the lamb was slain in Revelation, I think it's 13, before the foundation of the world. So God, even that plan was outside of time itself. The sacrifice was outside of time itself. So we're a blip in God's mind. We're just living it to what is for us real time. So is God, and that's what's hard to understand. For him, it's like instantaneous. It's all in the same moment. But his will's going to be done. He knows it. He wrote the story. And it's hard to wrestle with that sometimes, and it really is. So, but his will be done just as we see here. Whether you're passive, whether you're not, God knows it, and he's going to make everything work out for our good and his glory, right? Romans 8:28. So, as we go back up, pick up verse 5. So Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Padan Aram to stay with his uncle Laban, his mother's brother, the son of Bethuel, the Aramean. Welcome, Jeannie. Esau knew that his... Hey, he did make it. Ashley, welcome, brother. It's such a blessing to see you today. We're good.
How are you?
There you go.
I got all the ones except that one.
Yeah.
Very good.
Welcome. So we're just going through... No, you're good. We're just going through chapter 28, and the goal is to get through 28 and talk about the Jacob's ladder is kind of my goal. So we're in verse 5 right now. So Esau knew that his father Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him to Padan Aram to find a wife. So Esau knew, and that he warned Jacob, "You must not marry a Canaanite woman." He also knew that Jacob had obeyed his parents and gone to Padan Aram. It was now very clear to Esau that his father did not like the Canaanite women.
No.
It finally clicked that he did not like his wives. So now do you think there might have been a little bit of animosity between Jacob and his dad? Like, man, you really don't like the women I picked, do you? All right. Nobody can relate to that, can they? Not liking your parents, not liking your spouse, or you not liking your kids' spouse. So, all right, yeah. So Esau visited his uncle Ishmael's family, and this is what's funny. He does this intentionally to make his dad mad. So Esau visited his uncle Ishmael's family and married one of Ishmael's daughters in addition to the wives he already had. So he does this to spite his father. How many times have we seen kids do that? Or maybe maybe you've done that. I don't know. Not judging, just saying. Esau did it to spite his dad, and he was the favorite. So his new wife's name was Mahalath. She was the sister of Nebaioth and the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son. So here's where we get Jacob's dream at Bethel. Meanwhile, Jacob left Beersheba and traveled toward Haran. And remember, Paran Aram and Haran is kind of like saying the upstate versus Spartanburg. Okay, Paran Aram would be like saying upstate. It's an area geographically, and Haran would be like Spartanburg. So we're talking about a big area and then just like a little city in the midst of it. Okay. At sundown, he arrived at a good place to set up camp and stopped there for the night. Jacob found a stone to rest his head against and lay down to sleep. Now, some of the translations, you probably have it where it says that he had a pillow. The Hebrew there is actually kind of funny, just so you know. It's not really a pillow in the way that we think about it.
There's a big difference between a stone and a pillow.
Yeah. So the Hebrew is more like he makes a circle around his head for protection, is what's going on. So I mean, he's out, he's in the desert, he's in the wilderness. So he takes these stones and puts around him just for protection. Is kind of what's going on here. So the best English word that we can get is for rest, and we kind of translate it to pillow, but it's protection. So Jacob found a stone to rest his head against and lay down to sleep. So that's what you think if your head's up against it. Okay. As he slept, he dreamed of a stairway, and this is where I'd love some discussion as we get into it, that reached from the earth up to heaven. And he saw the angels of God going up and down the stairway. At the top of the stairway stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your grandfather Abraham, and the God of your father Isaac. The ground you are lying on belongs to you. I am giving it to you and your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth. They will spread out in all directions, to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south, and to all the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. What's more, I am with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. One day I'll bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have finished giving you everything that I have promised you. All right, so I've made it to the point that I wanted to. So, like I said, when I was a kid, I always heard people talk about Jacob's Ladder. I've heard, there's a movie, Jacob's Ladder. I know there's a toy. Yeah. There's a song. I mean, it's been this imagery and things. But again, I'm more or less a blank slate out of hearing people talk about it. So I want to know what this generation was taught about Jacob's Ladder, what it might have represented, what it means, just anything at all. So this is an open discussion, what y'all know about it, if anything.
Well, I mean, the song says, not in all of it, we are climbing Jacob's ladder.
Yeah.
I see it, that's the song I was trying to
Yeah, okay.
And I don't know how it goes actually.
Yeah, okay. So the song. All right, so the song.
Does that mean
Okay, so the song.
it could be genealogy or spiritual, it could
Okay.
be climbing to heaven.
Okay, so
If you
yeah, no,
take it
okay,
that.
yeah. Well,
I mean, and
so
I could be wrong.
no, and that's why this is open discussion, right? So the song, I'm climbing Jacob's ladder to heaven, right? So
You use it as a genealogy for the natural sense, or the spiritual as we're all trying to make it to heaven. I mean,
okay,
Whether you're climbing on the back of what Jacob did, you can kind of interpret it that way too.
okay, all right. Any
One
others?
thing about like a pathway.
A pathway.
Your life is going to have to be a pathway too.
A pathway.
You have to choose that.
Okay. Growth, spiritual growth. Okay.
So,
Any?
quick question. Is this, I'm not trying to steal your thunder.
No. You're not stealing any thunder. I promise.
Is the stairwell the foreshadow to the ladder because both are steps, right? Both, I mean, it could be a foreshadow. If you mind took it that far, I guess. And I'm not trying to, I know Pastor says you can make the Bible say what you want. That's not what I'm saying.
Well, this is why I'm asking, what have you been taught?
I mean, I guess you could, if the stairwell maybe be a foreshadow or an analogy.
No.
I mean, are we speculating or has somebody actually been taught?
No.
Well,
But
I mean,
what-
other than
I
some.
mean,
Well, like I said,
I have not been taught anything
What
about
does
that.
occur to me
Because-
though
Maybe,
Yes, it is.
maybe
Yeah.
each rung is a growth spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
But it occurs to me as like a ladder is narrow. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe we should
one
hear what the
person at a
dream
time.
is first. Before we try to figure out what the dream is.
Well, if the ladder is narrow, so.
Well, I mean, we went through the we went through the dream.
Where I was going.
I read the
Yeah.
dream
That was where I was going. It just too many pieces.
I never.
because I just know that it's such a common thing. I've always heard the older folk talk about Jacob's ladder.
Our generation never was really taught on it, or
Well,
didn't hear
we were
many
taught
messages
that
on
it's
it.
a vision.
Okay.
In
It
a
was like a
vision.
kid's
Yeah.
thing.
It's a vision, you know,
Yeah,
that he sees.
Yeah.
I feel like
Speaking
it
to him.
be
Yeah.
a kid thing where like
Yeah, it
kids,
was like the
kids
Lord.
And it's,
hear about
yeah,
it.
and it's a good thing
cute
because
story.
You know, like a
it's
revelation.
going up to heaven.
Okay.
So,
Well, but I feel like any other time that God really didn't appear as a person,
Yeah.
right? So they heard a voice or a dream, but they didn't see the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be Jesus, I'm saying, because he
Well,
is
it said
the
the Lord spoke to
personification
him
of
in
God.
his
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoke. Yeah. Well, as I said, this
My
is.
translation says that Abno is standing next to him. So
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I've got answers for you. I'm just curious.
But God is a spirit, right?
Yeah.
So Jesus is the personification of God. So that's the Lord,
Yeah.
all caps. That's Yahweh. And any other time that the angel of the Lord or something like that happens, we know that that's Jesus. Like,
Yeah.
physically see a shape standing there.
Yeah.
But this just, I feel like to me, with the dream and everything, it just means that they're working. The angels of
There
God,
we
they're
go.
working.
Yes,
They're
what did your generation?
active. They're
Yeah.
not
What
just
did her
sitting on the
generation?
phone.
Miss Edith, did your generation ever talk about it? Did your generation ever talk about Jacob's ladder?
Well, when I was able, I latched on 3 little boys here,
Uh-huh.
right after Allen nursery. Stayed with them until they started changing the voice.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Each year this would come up
Yeah.
in the lesson as to what they learned last year. was from me.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Everybody had a different thought.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going to come out of their mouth.
Yeah.
I would love to hear it now.
Yeah.
It's me. This is what you think.
Yeah.
Jacob's ladder.
Yeah. All right. So
Stairway to get ahead.
stairway to heaven.
So
Okay.
I Googled just on the song part of it,
Okay.
and it just says the ladder in Genesis 28 is the metaphor for resilience, perseverance, and spiritual growth as soldiers.
Okay.
So in John,
Hold on. We're gonna get to John. You about to use John 151? All right. Don't use it just yet.
all right.
Don't use it just yet.
We're not allowed to have answers yet.
I remember when I was a kid learning about that.
Yeah.
But there's so many dusty
Yeah.
cobwebs over it.
Yep.
that
Yep.
I can't pull
Yep.
that information. I was hoping
Yep.
some of the commentary would kind of sweep something
Yep.
away
Yep.
so I could pull it. But
Yeah. So John 151 is the answer. So,
I just remember knowing that it was a vision.
yeah.
And it was positive because the angels were going up and down
Yep.
the ladder.
And this is where and that's kind of what I wanted to kind of hit on, because I'm, from what I remember and what I know, is that a lot of people were taught that was the angels, again, working in the world, but it also was used as part of guardian angels. So yes, this vision with the angels coming and going. So as the angels are going up and down, this is representative of him being watched over as he's leaving the land and the land that he's going to. Okay, so that is part of that vision. But some people do use it for guardian angels. Here are references to, do angels actually come and intervene in the world and patrol the world? Yes. However, that leads to the question, if God is omniscient and knows everything, does he have to have angels report back to him to know these things? No. Okay, absolutely not. Are angels tools that God uses to affect things and actions in the world.
Yes.
Yes. So that is the purpose here. So if people try to say, why are they patrolling? Why are they doing this? That is one of God's chosen tools, just like we can be used as tools by God, right? Because if he wanted to, could he just speak it and make it happen? Yes. Okay. Also,
Well, the biggest example I think of that is in Daniel.
absolutely, Daniel.
Specifically
Yep.
told that, hey, look, we were detained.
We were detained. We were fighting battles.
For 3 weeks.
Yep,
For
3
21
weeks.
days.
Yep. And we see that spiritual warfare,
Be God's timing.
they're also designated within geographical boundaries. Like they're assigned areas. And that's why I have these up here. So, take a picture of the references. They're not omnipotent. They're not omniscient. They're not omnipresent. But angels are tools that God uses to do things. I do have some handouts for you, which this is from one of my books, okay, where it talks about guardian angels. Because we take verses like Psalm 91, where it says about angels, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone. So is part of what angels are used for to protect people in some ways? Yes. Do angels sometimes intervene to move us in certain directions that God needs us to go? Yes, absolutely. Okay. So this is one of those verses that is very difficult. The 1 Kings 22:19 through 22. If you go back and read that and the angels are coming in to report, God uses an angel to basically go and lie to a prophet. That's a hard verse. So when we say, can untrue words come from God? This is why when Paul says test this, Peter says test the spirits, and Paul says, if anything comes and preaches to you a gospel other than we have shared, even if it is an angel of light, test. It's a hard verse to work through and to swallow, right? Now, did God originate the lie? No. You see that it's the angel who says, hey, this is my suggestion. This is what what I can do. And it's to use judgment, right? So they are absolutely agents that can be used for judgment, okay? But that's a hard verse to work through, just so you know, when if you go back and you read it and you're studying on it. So now, what is the ladder actually? Yes, it represents a connection between earth and heaven. It shows that there are, angels' movement between earth and heaven. It shows that connection between the throne and earth, okay? But actually, since you've got John 1:51 ready to go for me, I'm ready for it now. If you'll read that, if you don't mind, brother.
Then he said, this is Jesus.
Jesus, yep.
I tell you the truth. You will all see heaven open and the angels of God going up and down on the Son of Man, the one who is the stairway between heaven and earth. So
Jesus,
I'm the ladder.
Jesus is the ladder. So this vision that we're seeing is actually Christ connecting heaven and earth in the Old Testament. So and I'm going to summarize here just to get these verses done. Jacob ends up setting up an altar. He sets these stones he laid his head on. He sets it up. He anoints it with oil, which actually later on in Deuteronomy, we're told like that's a sin. Don't do that because it's actually a culted item. God hates that. But he doesn't know any better yet because he doesn't have the law. Okay. But he ends up naming this place Bethel, right? And Bethel means what? House of God, or house of El, house of God. So again, this is showing that it's a dwelling place of God. So no, this is definitely a prefigure or an example of Christ in the Old Testament, explicitly. So Who connects? Yeah, who connects heaven and earth? Truly, Jesus. The only way to heaven from earth is
The one that came here.
the only one who has ascended is he who has descended. It's simple. The true ladder is Jesus. There's only one way to heaven. There's only one way to salvation. It's the path. Yep.
What's the song that says shouting victory,
Yep.
walking back down?
Yep.
On
So,
my way up.
yep. And so that's why I was curious what y'all were taught. If it was just a vision, if it was just about the angels, if it was just about sanctification, if it was just the growth of the runs, or that's what I was curious about. But no, it's truly this is Christ in the Old Testament being fulfilled in the New Testament. So just as this is the house of God, then everything's really the house of God. He dwells everywhere. He's omnipresent. And there's only one path to the Father, and it is through the Son. He is the stairwell. He is the ladder. He is the way. So,
Yeah,
Good segue.
another supporting reference.
Yahweh.
I read her.
Another supporting reference of the angels
Yep.
coming down and intervening or working on earth is when it says to treat like in hospitality, because
Yeah, you never
when
know.
you're going to be with angels.
Yep.
We randomly found on what is it, Tubi or some kind of TV network, a whole station of the Touched by an Angel.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
watched like several episodes.
Yeah, we're watching
so
it
that's
recently.
fresh in my mind of, they would come down and they would help
Yeah.
and intervene and, walk on the earth.
All right.
Tubi is free.
Yeah.
Some of the different-
I think, yeah.
So
Or it might have been Pluto. Yeah. Yeah. Salvation.
You think
All
about even like Lot and some of the different places in Scripture where they're hospitable and they're
Yeah.
actually entertaining angels and don't know it
Yep.
later.
Absolutely.
So it's scriptural in multiple ways.
All right. Robert, would you pray us out, brother?
Let me just say.
Oh,
real quick
yes,
before we
ma'am.
pray. I texted Dana and asked about Chuck, and
Yeah.
checked his level this morning, and his sodium is still low.
Still low.
So they're
Okay.
doing the medication part.
All right. But definitely have that on the prayer list this morning. So, all right.